Deccan Herald, 21st of February 2024, new military discussions between China and India aim to reduce short-term concerns in Eastern Ladakh. China is deterring India in the north as part of an all-out assault against the Indian subcontinent while bolstering her fleet in preparation for an invasion of India in the Indian Ocean. The military commanders of China and India recently convened yet another round of fruitless negotiations, failing once more to agree on the reciprocal withdrawal of frontline troops from Demchok and Depsang, the two unresolved flashpoints along the line of actual control, LAC, in Eastern Ladakh. India emphasized that the resolution of the 4-year standoff in the Laos-Angkor Corridor was a prerequisite for normalcy in its relations with China. On Monday, the military leaders of China and India convened at the meeting place of the Chushul-Moldo frontier. Following the start of the standoff between the Indian Army and the Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA, in Eastern Ladakh in April and May of 2020, this was the 21st session of discussions between the military commanders. More than 4 months have passed since the 20th round of negotiations between the Chinese PLA and Indian Army leaders was held last year on October 9 and 10. The Communist Party's PLA mission was headed by China's South Xinjiang Military District Commander. At the same time, the Indian Army's delegation was led by the commander of its 14 Corps, headquartered in Leh. The Ministry of External Affairs in New Delhi said, the discussions built on the previous rounds, seeking complete disengagement in the remaining areas along the Lak and Eastern Ladakh as an essential basis for the restoration of peace and tranquility in the India-China border areas. The discussions were held in a friendly and cordial atmosphere as the two sides shared their perspectives. In April to May 2020, the Chinese PLA moved a sizable military concentration near the India-China Lak in Eastern Ladakh to alter the status quo. To thwart the Chinese PLA's efforts to advance the Lak westward, the Indian Army had to send in more soldiers. This led to a military standoff that, on June 15, 2020, reached the breaking point with a bloody battle in the Galwan Valley. The Indian Army and the Chinese PLA both withdrew their troops from some of the Lak's flashpoints, such as Galwan Valley, the northern and southern banks of Pangong Tso, Gagra Post, and Hot Springs, after lengthy negotiations. Still, the standoff was not entirely resolved at this time. The Indian Army's access to patrolling points 10, 11, 12, 12A, and 13 is still blocked by the PLA troops stationed at Depsang, located deep into Indian territory along the line of actual command with China. In Demchok, there's also an ongoing face-off. The most recent summit between the Chinese PLA and Indian Army commanders produced little immediate progress in troop withdrawal from the remaining confrontation sites. They decided to keep in touch on the next steps through the appropriate military and diplomatic channels. According to the press release from the May in New Delhi, they pledged to uphold calm and peace in the border areas during the interim.